All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Wholesaling the Cool Way. I'm your co-host today, Jasper Cool, along with my dad, Mark. And on this podcast, if you're new here, we talk about all things wholesaling. We both run our own wholesaling businesses, have been for a few years, and so we share what's working, what's not working, and hopefully share some stuff that's helpful for anybody that's looking to get started or grow their business. So we typically start off with highs and lows combined with any inspiration over the past week. It could come from books or podcasts or anything like that. So we kind of checked in offline with highs and lows. So do you want to jump into inspiration?
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to. I don't have anything loaded up for as far as stuff I've been listening to. It's one of those weeks where I listen to some stuff, but I can't totally remember. Still reading
It's all
10X
good.
2X by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. Almost done with that. Um, so that's a really good book that I highly recommend. And I don't even remember what my last chapter is, so I won't go into that. Um, we can touch on those houses that we looked at last week. That's something I still remember. I was in Phoenix
Yeah.
last week visiting Jasper. I live in North Carolina, but we did went to a couple open houses for $6.5 million houses in Paradise Valley, and they were really
Yeah.
cool, very inspiring. Especially the first one we looked at because they pulled out all the stops with design, so it just had some really fun elements. Just great space with high ceilings and lots of glass looking out onto the swimming pool, and they had a jacuzzi, and the glass doors opened up, and they had like motion sensors, so they would open, and um, they had that the pool house with a like custom made concrete sink. All the plumbing fixtures were super cool in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the office was great, high ceilings and built-in like surround sound speaker system, and that fireplace thing that there was like a thing that looked like it was a wood stove, but it was coming down from the ceiling, just a pipe, and then it was like a almost a UFO shaped thing, black metal, but then it had a flame in the middle, but it wasn't really a flame; it was steam with a light behind it, and you could make it hot or not, but it was like looked like a flame going. That was really cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
inspiring to see those. And then the second one we saw had a pickleball court and a basketball court combined, and it had a really great guest house, just a really nice space for guests, and an infinity pool and a jacuzzi. And that was the one that had the smart glass where the front door was all glass and you could see out into the world, but you could flick a switch and then it became opaque and you couldn't see through it. So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
That was fun to see all that stuff. And normally, like I normally have more stuff loaded up in my brain, but since I just played pickleball, I didn't give myself the space this morning to review my week, so I'm going to just leave it at that.
It's all good. Yeah. Thank you for sharing those. Yeah, for me, kind of same thing. I don't have as much as stands out to me. I did finish that book, Same as Ever by Morgan Housel. I really like that book. I don't have anything off the top of my head that I could share inspiration wise, but I mean, I'm inspired by him by how much research he put into that book because it's basically just a book full of anecdotes and like stories, which I like. I haven't read too many books that are structured that way, so I really enjoyed it because every chapter is made up of multiple like mini chapters where he's basically like telling a story and then kind of sharing his opinion on what you can take from that story to implement in your own life. So I like that, and I learned a lot of history that I didn't know before. So yeah, I would say I'm inspired by his writing process, how much research. I can only imagine how many hours, how many other books that he had to read to put that together.
Yeah,
So that's inspiring. But yeah, in addition to that, I also saw this cool video on Mr. Beast, and I don't watch him as much anymore because some of his videos got a bit ridiculous. But his most recent one I think was where he built 100 wells in Africa for a bunch of different villages, and I just thought
nice.
that was so cool.
Yeah.
Uh, you saw that one?
No, I'm just said nice.
Um, okay, yeah, yeah. I just thought that was really cool. Probably anyone who's listening knows who Mr. Beast is, but that was the first time I've seen him. He has a separate channel called Beast Philanthropy, and I know he posts a bunch of stuff like that on there. But that was my first time seeing him do like one of his main videos on that, and I thought that was really cool because his videos get like whatever 100 million views or something every video,
Yeah,
which is
he's in a
crazy.
bunch of
So
different languages
uh,
and everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and so yeah, so that was really cool to see, just to see everyone's reaction, and just put things in perspective when these children have to walk one of the villages at least they had to walk a mile each way, so 2 miles twice a day just to get water for themselves. And I was just like, wow, it puts everything else in perspective. So I thought that was really cool. And then obviously now they don't anymore because he built them a well. But I just thought that was really cool. And just checked out his website a little bit after the video, and like you can donate to them on his philanthropy website, and they show all the stuff that they do. And it's really cool just to see how much of an impact he's having from his fame and success. So that was really inspiring. But yeah, there's that. There's a book, and that might be it for me this week. Yeah, I think that might be it. So we can segue into business check-in. If you want to check in about any victories, any challenges, and we can do an SMS update as well.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do a little bit. There's a lot going on in the SMS landscape, so we can check in about that. Yeah, so business. I know we closed 2 deals this week, which is great. It's always good to close deals. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm just going to look at my Slack really quickly. Yeah, we closed one on Rainbow Street and one Gateway Drive are the two we closed. So Gateway was in Cumberland County and Rainbow Street was in Guilford County, North Carolina. Uh, let's see if there's anything I can think of. This is a regular buyer we had on the Cumberland one, somebody who's bought a bunch of stuff from us. So that was a fairly straightforward closing. We did switch attorneys on that, so that was nice to work with a different attorney than the one we've been working with most of the time. And it also saved the buyer money because the buyer had done closings with our other attorney and had complained about the closing costs. So we switched over to a local attorney here in Hillsboro who does a great job and charges a few $100s less. So that was good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then Rainbow Street. Yeah, shout out Cheshire and Parker for closing that one. And then Rainbow Street, it was a little bit of a wrinkle, and this is something just for people who are new. Like this one had a real estate agent involved, so then we're always kind of like, oh boy, real estate agents coming in. How's this going to go?
Yeah.
Because real estate agents can make things harder sometimes, but sometimes they can be great. And in this case, they were pretty great. We just the buyers were Spanish speakers as their first language, and so I asked some Spanish. So I was trying to communicate with them some in Spanish, but then they hired an agent who was bilingual, so we were able to communicate with her, and she really just was there to be a translator and to help the process, which was great. Sometimes
Mhm.
that's the experience with the real estate agents. Sometimes they're trying to take control and use their lawyer and use their 12-page contract and all this stuff. And they just went with our contract. They helped interpret with the guys and the buyers, and then we did get it closed. There was one wrinkle with this, which if you've listened to this podcast before, you've heard us talk about different issues with title and errors and things like that. And we had there was an estate file, and this is a weird one. The the sellers had inherited the property. The uncle they inherited from died in Davidson County, and we were closing. The property was in Guilford County, and for some reason, the will has to be filed in the county that you're closing the deal in for some reason. So we had to get uh,
Yeah.
the we actually had Duncan, who we've shouted out before on this podcast. He's a great mobile notary who does stuff. He he went down to Guilford. Did I already tell this story? I don't think so because we just closed this week. But he went
Yeah, I don't think
down to Davidson County, went to the county clerk or whatever. Yeah, I think it was a clerk. Got a certified copy of the estate file, and then drove over to Guilford County and filed the copy in Guilford and got a receipt for that. And then that whole thing went to our attorney to help close the deal. So we had to go back and forth a bunch, and the sellers didn't think there was really a will. They were under the impression that the uncle was old school and he hadn't done anything, but actually he had. So it was all this confusion. So it's another lesson in just like sticking with the process, trying to communicate well. Like I got on the phone with the seller and he explained everything to me, and I explained it to the lawyer, and then the lawyer said, but there really isn't a state file. We were like, okay, we're just going to do this for the sellers so it gets done, because they seem to think they don't need to do anything and they were busy, whatever. So we did end up getting it done, and everybody was happy. So that's a win. And I think it was a decent commission. Like we've been trying to raise our assignment fee, and I know this one was in the five figures, and we'd been doing a lot of assignment fees in a the high four figures amount. So that's
Mhm.
good for us. So yeah, made some money this week, and that's great. Contracts, I know we got some new contracts too. I'm gonna again look at my Slack because that's where everything gets put in. We just actually got a contract yesterday that got finalized in Robeson County. Then we got one on the 16th in Robeson County, and then on the 15th we got one in Catawba County. So that's this week. So we got 3 contracts this week.
Nice.
Yeah, and we had 5 last week. So we're kind of cranking. We have about 15 properties in disposition right now, I think. But we might be canceling a couple of those because there are a couple of them that are a little bit tricky and have had issues. But we have
Hmm.
between 12 and 15 properties that we're working right now that we have the opportunity to sell and hopefully put into escrow to close before the end of the year so we can push towards our annual revenue goal, which we're behind the 8 ball on, but at least we're making progress and closing deals and getting contracts, so we have
Yeah,
a chance. Um,
that's awesome.
so as far as victories go, 2 closed deals is a victory. We're still working on that culture index thing, which is like a personality survey that helps your team work more productively together and also helps you hire more effectively. Helps
Uh-huh.
get in the right seat. They use a metaphor of like there's a bus and then people has a seat on the bus, but are they in the right seat? Or you could
Hmm.
like a crew like with rowing, right? Everybody has to pull together, but are they in the right seat to be most effective? So anyway,
Yeah,
I had another meeting with the person from that this week, and that was good, and feels productive. And I think we're going to start that after the first of the year. Uh,
awesome.
yeah, so victories. I can't think of any other major victories. I mean, it's great to get contracts. It's great to close deals. Yeah, that's all I can think of. So I'll speak to the challenge of the SMS for a minute. If you are doing SMS marketing, you know that things have changed a lot, especially if you're working with launch control because they've completely changed their whole approach to SMS marketing, and they're basically forcing
Yeah.
everyone who is has an account with launch control to do what they've set up as their new paradigm. So um, I have an interesting position because we have an account with Smarter Contact, which is another SMS messaging service. We actually have 4 different services that we use for SMS because we have Textedly, which we actually use for buyer outreach. And then we have, smartphone, which is connected to Podio. And they have tenant LLC registration where you have to register your number and your EIN and all that's across the board. But the ones I would contrast are the Smarter Contact and Launch Control because they're very similar as far as doing just bulk campaigns. Um, and Smarter Contact is not cracked down the way Launch Control has. So we're still doing more of the communicating that we always have been doing about, hey, have you thought about selling your property or whatever? But with Launch Control, you can't do any of that anymore. It's all opt in, and you always have to have an opt out. And that's true for your initial messages, for your follow ups. All of it has to have opt in and opt out language. And you have to be really careful about how you say things and what you say. You can't use people's first name and last name anymore. You can't use their address anymore unless they give it to you. So in Smarter Contact, we're still doing the status quo. We're still using we're going to start ratcheting that back because I think what's going to happen is what's happened with launch control is going to happen with the
Hmm.
text platform because the carriers are breaking down or cracking
Yeah.
down, and the carriers are cracking down because the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is cracking down on the carriers. So it's going to
Uh-huh.
trickle down, and I think every text platform is going to have the same restrictions. It seems to me like after watching the video that Launch Control put out that they're trying to be ahead of the curve and like protect everybody and build a foundation that's sustainable. Whereas I wouldn't be surprised if our Smarter Contact account gets flagged in the next week or two, and we get suspended there, which we were in Launch
Yeah.
Control. So right now we're like still doing Smarter Contact primarily because we're getting much better response rate and better warm leads there. um, but we are starting to implement some of the things that launch control recommends, like we're taking out first and last name, we're taking out property address, we're adding some opt-in and opt-out things, but we're doing somewhere like a middle ground, not the full radical change
Yeah.
that launch control is doing, which is launch control. And Jasper and I laughed about this the last time we had a podcast, but it's just like the messages sound so hokey and so spammy. It's crazy. They're just
Yeah.
they're just stupid. They just sound. I feel stupid sending them. but they're claiming that they're getting a good response rate, and that has not been our experience. We just did our first campaign the end of last week, and we didn't. We got very very little response, and part of the response that they're counting is the opt outs. We got a lot of opt outs, and then we got. I think we sent. I think we just did a test, and we sent like 1,100 texts, and we got
Yeah.
three actual real responses, and two of those were leave me
Nice.
alone. Two of them were leave me alone, don't call me again, and one was I might be interested in buying property. So that was the
Okay.
responses we got. So we got a buyer and we got two leave me alones out of 1,100
Okay.
texts, and then we got a bunch of opt outs. So launch control's claims as to their response rate, I'm not. We haven't experienced it at a small sample size. We'll do a bigger sample size next week. Jasper, I know you've done
Yeah.
a bigger sample size with the new template, so you can probably speak to that a little bit better than I can. But I mean, that's it. If you're doing SMS marketing, you might want to try Smarter Contact and just like have both have, you know, a lower level account on Launch Control and a lower level account on Smarter Contact, and play both of them in case one gets canceled or flagged, and then you still have a channel open. And the other
Yeah.
benefit that I mentioned to you, Jasper, this week with Smarter Contact is they do have a built-in RVM, which is a ringless voicemail, and we've had some success with that. We've gotten leads from it. It's a little bit labor intensive with the incoming calls because almost everybody you drop a ringless voicemail to calls you back, and about half of them are wrong numbers. So
Mhm.
they call you back and say, "Oh, it's the wrong number." You
Yeah.
say, "Oh, thanks for calling us back and telling us it was the wrong number," But anyway, the point of that is you get two channels. You get two channels in one with Smarter Contact. You get an SMS platform and you get the ringless voicemail. So that's kind of a nice thing. And Launch
Mhm.
Control's platform is great. Their tracking of data, statistics and analytics is great. Their drip campaigns are great. It's just extremely limited with what you can say to people right now within Launch Control, and you have to go in and change all your
Yeah.
templates and stuff. So I guess that's
Yeah.
all I'll say about that. But if you're doing text marketing, that's my 2 cents on it. I don't think it's dead. I think like you said, Jasper, that the your ROI might go down with SMS in the future. It's been great for a lot of people because the return on investment has been very high compared to uh, you know PPC or cold calling or direct mail. But
Mhm.
that's going to change a little bit. But I think it's still
Yeah.
good. It's still going to be equal to or slightly better than those other channels. But we are, we're hedging our bets and we're sending out direct mail. I just ordered a new campaign this week, and we're going to order 1 to 2 direct mail campaigns, every month to supplement. So that's where we're at. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll turn it over to you
Awesome.
for your business check in and any feedback. I don't know if you want to piggyback on the SMS since we're already on it, and then do your business check in, or do it however you want.
Yeah, I'll do that first. I'll just piggyback on yours. So, yeah, with the initial messaging, I have a couple templates that are, I'm just looking at my dashboard now. I have a couple templates that are 12, 13% response percentage for initial, but the rest of them are 9% or lower.
Yeah, that's where
And
we're at.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, and so in the past, I think we touched on this last week, so I'll do it briefly. But in the past, we were about anywhere from 16 to 20% response rate on initial um, text, and actually, some of my templates were slightly higher. So I would say like 16 to 24 is kind of the
same,
range, like our worst templates, and
same
yeah.
here. Yeah,
Um, and then in the past, the follow up templates were about half of that, so anywhere from like 8 to 12% response for me. And so now I'm noticing that they're about the same, which is a good thing for the follow up because they haven't decreased. Because, like I shared last week, I'm just sending the same, basically the same exact follow up templates. But yeah, the initial templates are just garbage now. So your response rate and your leads are just halved from what they were a couple months ago or a month ago. So yeah, so that's been a struggle for me. I did have a CG call this past week where they touched on it, and people were kind of sharing their feedback, and the overwhelming majority of people were just saying that they think, as opposed to jumping around to different softwares, that like you said, it's just going to hit all of them at some point, and it's probably not going to be too far in the future. So if you're going to jump from launch control to, let's say, Smart Contact, Batch Leads, Lead Sherpa, any of these they're probably going to all get hit fairly soon if they haven't already. So for me, I'll just share what I'm doing. I'm just going to stay put for now. I'm probably going to drop one of my launch control accounts and spend that money elsewhere. But for anyone listening that is using launch control, since they are aware that everyone's leaving them, they are offering discounts. So if you ask your customer service rep or whatever just to give you a discount, then they pretty much will. So that's a good thing.
I already took your
Um,
advice and did that, and they
yeah,
gave me a credit. Yeah,
yeah. So that's a good thing. They are offering, some credits for lost time and as well as discounts on the monthly rate going forward because they're trying to, save as many customers as they can. But for me, my 2 cents, for what it's worth, nobody really knows where it's going to go. But I think that launch control is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, at least in the real estate space right now. And so I would trust that they're gonna, like you said, that they're gonna try to fix this somehow so that they can continue to be around long term. Because if not, then their company's probably gonna fail because everyone's gonna leave. And so I would like to trust them that they will put in some sort of fix or some sort of workaround, or maybe they can, I don't know, build some more rapport with the carriers and let us get some better templates approved or something. But I would hope that that's coming. If not, then I probably will leave, but I'm going to probably give it another couple months at least. But like I said, I'm probably in the
yeah,
short term going to close one of those accounts down and just run with one account because, right now it's pretty bad. The one good thing though, I think you shared in the past, I might be wrong, but I think you shared that Smarter Contact does not have the drip capability like Launch Control. And so that's one thing that is great about Launch Control because even with these lower response, initial templates, you're getting much less response there. You can still send out drips, which is good. And just looking at my dashboard, it says I have 4,000 drips scheduled tomorrow, so that's a lot.
yeah.
So
I'm
that's
similar.
that's a good thing.
I have similar.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
so that's a good thing. And of course, this past week they shut down those too. But now, thankfully, I'm back up and running on my drips. So that's another bonus about launch control that you can still send out your drips, and you do have to alter your messaging a bit on those as well, but not as ridiculous as the initial templates. So that's nice. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the SMS, or at least my portion of that. So yeah, so I guess I can share what I've done because you mentioned direct mail. So since this has been happening, I had 5 people on my SMS team. I transitioned 2 of them to callers. I'm probably going to transition another 1 or 2 because I might only need one to run both accounts because it's so small at this point. But either way, I transitioned 2 to callers this week, Tuesday, and they got 37 leads in 3 days combined, the 2 of them. So that was fantastic. And now with them and with the couple agencies that I hired, I have 5 callers now. So I've pretty much went full reverse in the opposite direction. But it's been going well so far. I've been getting a lot more leads, and I'll just transition this into kind of my business check-in. So that's what I'm done in the very short term to combat this SMS thing. I'm transitioning back to cold calling, and I'm also have a call with a PPC agency tomorrow. So I might start trying some pay-per-click Google ads and maybe Facebook ads, stuff like that. So I'm excited about that possibility. But I have a call with them tomorrow, so next week I'll be able to update more on that. But yeah, so for this week, we went from 83 leads the week prior to 129 leads this week. So we're finally back up above
great.
100, which it was only a month, but it kind of hurt because we were down below 50 leads in a week, which we're accustomed to being 100 plus with
Yeah,
launch control.
we had
So
we were down for 3 months with launch control, so we got spanked.
yeah,
We messed up our business totally. Yeah,
yeah. So thankfully I was only down for a month, but it definitely hurt. So it's really nice to be back above 100 leads a week, and that's like 80% calling. So I'm thankful for all the callers that I brought on about a month ago when this first happened, as well as, like I said, the 2 people that I transitioned into callers this week. That's helped us really bump up that number. As well, we put out 75 offers this week, which is the most in a long time. So that was awesome. So I'll just share the KPIs as well. So no contracts this week, but with 75 offers, I think we're going to have some trickling in next week and the following week. Because it's kind of like we had no leads for a month, so the contracts are slower this month. But I think this is going to set us up for a better December and hopefully January. Now that we're finally getting more consistent leads with calling, and I don't think calling is going to shut down anytime soon. So I'm grateful to be back on that. But yeah, so other than that, we closed 2 deals this week, which was awesome. sold one deal that has not been selling, so that was really nice to get that one sold. I got this deal in Durham, and I was like, deal in Durham is going to be awesome, but
Yeah,
not the case. So that was interesting, but it's interesting to see how different each county is right now because the market's definitely slowing down. I
yeah,
can feel that, but certain counties not at all. But some counties are pretty slow, so it's interesting to see that. So yeah, but that was good to sell one, close two. I don't know if anyone cares about my breakdowns, but I could do it quickly if uh, if anyone wants to, if it's helpful for anybody. So I'll just do it real quick. Just a breakdown of those two closed deals. So first one closed this week. It was from an SMS campaign, of course, and the campaign that we launched was back in July, and then we contracted this deal in August, and then we closed it in November. That was because the sellers needed a time to move out because their new home was being built. I think I might have shared this in weeks past because I had some challenges with this deal, but we got it closed this week. There was a couple more, challenges at the finish line, but we got it done, so that was nice. And then the other one, I think was a similar timetable, but let me just find it real quick. Uh, yeah, so this one was also from SMS, and this was launched back in May, the initial campaign, and then we contracted this deal. Let's see, contracted this deal in September, and we closed it this week. So that's about 60 days from when we contracted it, but we launched a campaign way back in May. So
yeah.
both of those deals, yeah, both of those deals definitely took some follow up and then some patience once we got them under contract because they were both owner occupied, and sometimes with those deals you have to either be patient or offer moving help or both. So that's what we did, and we were able to finally get both of those closed this week. So that's
That's
awesome.
great.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's about it for my week. Yeah, another victory from this week. I got this idea from Matt Larson, but he said that in in times like this when the market's slowing down, some people might like turn off their marketing and stuff if they're in a cash crunch. But he said you can do that, but what you should do is go through all the people that you've offered on and just put them all into a list and just call them all up and just see if they've sold their property. And if not, then he said a lot of times if they haven't sold and you ask them, oh, why do you think it hasn't sold? Then it'll like kind of set in subconsciously like, oh, maybe my price is too high. And like obviously it's not going to work on everybody. But so I did that this week, and we had over 1,300 people in that list, which is just people I just filtered anyone that we've made an offer on, obviously who hasn't accepted, not the people that we have under contract, but anyone we've made an offer on that we're either negotiating or they didn't accept in the past. And I just gave it to my follow-up guy, and he's just been dialing that all week, and it's been huge for us. It's getting a lot of revived leads from that list, and he hasn't even been able to finish the list even on a dialer because that's how many responses he's getting. Like
That's
everyone's
great.
answering. And so obviously not everyone's interested, but almost everyone has a positive response where it's like, no, but follow up with me in a couple weeks, a couple months, in a month, or yes, I'm still interested in selling and my prices went to this from this. So I'm seeing a lot of decreased prices, whether it's 5,000 or 30,000, everyone seems to be actually kind of realizing what's happening in the market. So I think that's a good sign,
Yeah,
at least for the coming months, that maybe sellers are going to start to understand that the market's actually slowing down. It's still not 2020. So
yeah,
that was a good sign, and just a good thing to do for anyone out there. You might not have 1,300, but even if you have a couple hundred offers that you've made over the past 6 months or whatever, just follow up with all those people, and hopefully that'll lead to some more deals. And it's pretty much free. You just have
yeah.
to pay for a dialer. Yeah,
That's always been good for me too. I always have to remember when things are slow, just go back to the old leads, the people you've already talked to, the people who've already said they wanted to sell. Even if
yeah, exactly,
they're asking too much, like you said, if they've been stewing for 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, then and they still want to sell, they might be flexible. So it's
exactly.
great, great
Yeah.
tip. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of put a light bulb in my head that I need to probably hire another follow specialist or two or three because I realized that Francis, I think I transitioned him about a month ago. He was a cold caller for me, and I transitioned him to being a follow specialist, which is just following up with leads within our CRM. And that's been awesome. He's been getting, I don't know, I'd say minimum five people that are like interested from his dialing every day. So like 5 revive, we call it revive leads. But that's been awesome. And he's only one person, so I'm just realizing like I could have multiple people dialing different filters because you can filter out. So I could have people dialing anyone who's made an offer on, people dialing the people that are labeled as like retail leads, and all these different filters we have
Uh,
in the CRM. So I think that might be the play going forward. I think I might move either one or two of my remaining SMS agents over to that position because I don't really want to let them go because I like those guys. So yeah, but that's just my idea, just kind of talking out loud.
no,
I
that's
think that's
good.
pretty much
That's a great tip. Great tip. Great
yeah.
reminder.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. So yeah, I guess that's it for the business check-in. And I guess we can wrap it up unless you have any other thoughts about SMS or anything else like that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else for this week. Any other trends or any other unique? I mean, yeah, the week goes by so fast sometimes. Yeah, I guess the
Yeah.
only other thing I'd say is like if you're just starting or you're new, like this is the time where you have to be really on top of stuff. This time of year, I've been saying this to my team, is just like, um, Thanksgiving is next week, Christmas is the next month, and people start to slow down, get a little bit more low key, get in holiday mode, and take some days off. They have vacations around the holidays. An example is like we're excited about this property we have under contract, and Jasper, I shared this with you. It's a mobile home that's move-in ready on a lot, but there's two additional lots, and those are mobile home lots, and there's already water and sewer there, and they're cleared. So for us, that's a really good deal, and we're excited. And we decided we were going to buy that so we'd have control of it and make sure we could maximize our profit. And we were trying
Hmm.
to close it ASAP, and the lawyer got everything ready. And we're reaching out to the seller, like, "Hey, when can you close?" And she's like, "Well, I'm going to the mountains for Thanksgiving, and I'll be back next week, and I could close on the 30th." And we're like, "The 30th?" We were trying to close before
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
now we got her to the 27th, but still, we don't really want to market these properties until we have them under control. So it's just an example
Yeah.
of like everybody gets into holiday mode, people have travel plans and stuff. So if you're trying to lock stuff down and get it closed before the end of the year, you've got to be just a little bit extra on top of things, a little bit more pushy with
Hmm.
lawyers, with sellers, with buyers, and just try and get stuff done uh,
Yeah.
if you're trying to get it done before the end of the year. So that's all I would say. That's just a trend I'm noticing for us, and I've been talking to my team about.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess I just picked up this book because I was trying to remember what have I 10x 2x book.
Hmm.
One of the things they talk about is the meetings and the time to when you're a leader and a visionary and a visionary, you need time to blocks of time to be able to do your bigger, most important, high leverage tasks. And so I noticed that I've had meetings scattered throughout my week with the various departments in my business. Like we have acquisitions, disposition, transaction coordination. I do a management meeting once every other week, and then we have sometimes bookkeeping and accounting too. But I was
Hmm.
having like 5 to 6 meetings a week, and so I've just cut down the number of meetings, and then I put them on 2 days, Monday and Wednesday, so that I know I have Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday completely free unless I schedule something there where I can take bigger blocks of time to work on important projects or to have uninterrupted blocks of time. So that's one of the things that one of my takeaways from that book
Yeah.
that I've implemented this week. Just
Definitely.
yeah, I mean the importance of focused blocks of time and not being distracted by things, even not responding to your email, right away, turning off your alerts and notifications on your phone or your computer so that you can do whatever you need to do for a period of time, whether that's making phone calls or doing analysis of deals or some administrative thing that you're building. Just give yourself a block of time and let your team or people you're working with
Hmm.
know you'll be available at a certain hour, but you won't be available until, you know, in a certain block. So that's my
Yeah.
one tip slash takeaway from that book.
Yeah. That's a great tip.
But yeah, that's I guess we can wrap, right? Unless you have anything else, Jasper.
Yeah, I think we can wrap up, do some appreciations real quick. I don't have any quotes in front of me this week.
Yeah, that's part of why I pulled this book up too, to see if there was something right at my fingertips on the because there's some quotes in here, but yeah, I don't think there's anything right off the top. I mean, I'm reading the self-managing company um, chapter, so I'll read this. You can't have an innovative, increasingly more profitable company unless you have a self-managing company. With the day-to-day activities of running your business managed by your team, you're free to look at the big picture vision, continually innovate greater and greater value, and even transform your marketplace. That's the co-author, Nate
Yeah.
Sullivan. Just giving yourself space to pull back, and it's stuff, sentiment that we hear in like the E Myth and other books that are popular in this world of like you got to work on your business, not in your business. Because if you're working in your business
Mhm.
in a grind, you got to pull back and let other people do stuff for you so you can work on your business and grow it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's what I got. So as far as gratitude and appreciations, I appreciate this beautiful warm weather here in North Carolina. I'm sitting in my car. Uh, we just finished playing pickleball and it's sunny, so I just sitting out in the sun in my car. But it's really nice here. I appreciate and I'm grateful for seeing you, Jasper, last week in person. It's been a while, so last December, so almost a year. And it was great to see you and Naja and get to play with Kobe and Idris. Those are Jasper's dogs, and they're super fun, sweet guys. And we had a great time playing with them. Idris trying to drag me all over the house on with tug of war, and Kobe insatiable with fetching the ball. Um,
Yep.
got to cuddle on the couch with them too, and we got to go out some nice meals and check out more of Phoenix. That hotel too. Speaking of inspiration, the like the what was that? The Biltmore that we went to.
Yeah, Biltmore. Yeah, I
Yeah, my
totally forgot.
girlfriend had her grandmother had used to go there in the winters and spend winters at the Biltmore in is it Phoenix or is it Scottsdale? Is that technically Phoenix?
That's Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah. But we went there and it's designed by Frank Lloyd Wright and I love his work, and so it was really cool that like the lobby was amazing and just the light fixtures and the spaces that were created and that auditorium space, with the sconce lights and like the event space and then the courtyards and just all the little details with the art and the you know whatever, the murals, the statues, swimming pool is really cool, all of it. That was super inspiring, so I'm grateful to come out to Arizona, grateful to experience that, grateful to be with you guys, you and Naja and the boys, and travel with Ann. And yeah, grateful for this business, for what it provides for us in terms of learning opportunity, growth opportunity, income potential, meeting people, all the good things that we get out of it. And I really appreciate you, Jasper, for doing this mastermind with me every week. It's really great to connect with you and to continue to grow our businesses together. And thanks to anyone who's listening. And uh, please participate and join us with comments or any feedback and let us know what you'd like to hear more about. That's all for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming to see us. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, like you said, thank you for reminding me. So I forgot about the hotel, but that was really cool. So yeah, thank you for sharing on that. But yeah, other than that, I'm super grateful to have found a place to move into, found a new house for us, and excited about that. Feeling excited and ready. So anyone could unpack that, any listeners. But yeah, very excited about that, and I'm grateful that it's sunny again here. We had a day of rain yesterday. It was probably the first day in a few months, so I can't complain. But it's kind of ironic when it never rains. It feels much longer when it rains for one day, so it's interesting. But I'm grateful to have sunny weather here again today, and grateful to be able to work out again and walk again. So I'm grateful for that, and yeah, I appreciate you doing this with me today. I think that's it. So, anybody who's listening, if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like, drop a comment, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Over and out.